The planet was silent. Xylon 3 had no birds, no wind, no music. Just sand, rocks, and bones. Asha sat alone on a broken piece of metal, her legs shaking, her hands bleeding. She was 8 years old. Her eyes, wide and full of fear, looked to the sky. But no one came. They had left her. Her mother was dead. Killed in an ambush, just hours before. The Alari guards, the tall aliens with glowing skin, had whispered something into their comms. Then they turned away. They didn't look back. They left her in the dust. She waited. 1 hour. Then 2. Then the cold came. Her skin turned blue from the cold air. The sky above her grew darker. Stars came out, but they gave no light. The planet had no sun anymore. Just a dull red moon and clouds full of poison. Asha knew she would die soon. But she didn't cry. She couldn't. Her mother had always told her. You are half human. That means you survive. Xylon 3 was once a mining colony. Long ago, ships came and went, full of crystals and tech. But now it was dead. The air was toxic. The mines were closed. Strange creatures haunted the night. And the old machines. Some of them still moved, but no one knew why. Asha had no food. No water. No weapons. Only a small bracelet on her wrist. It was cracked, but it still blinked. A gift from her mother. It had a map. A weak signal. One last message. Run. She ran. 4 hours. Maybe days. She found an old bunker in the desert. Broken doors. Rusted walls. But inside, it was dry. And there were things she didn't understand. Screens. Wires. A broken robot. She didn't know what to do. But she stayed. She learned. At first, she pressed buttons. Randomly. Then slowly, she started to understand. Which buttons made light? Which opened doors? Which turned on the machine that made clean air? The robot, too, was broken. Its head was gone. But the legs worked. She fixed what she could. Tied wires. Used metal scraps. Bit by bit, it came back to life. She called it Blue. Because of the light on its chest. Blue didn't talk. But it followed her. Helped her. Brought her things it found outside. Batteries. Tools. Even old books. Asha used the books to learn to read. Then she found data logs in the bunker. She read those too. She learned about humans. About Earth. About war. She learned she had a father. Somewhere. A human man. She didn't know his name. But in her heart, she believed one thing. He would have never left me. The years passed. She grew taller. Stronger. Smarter. She learned how to hunt the small animals that still lived underground. She learned how to clean water. How to use old solar panels to charge the bunker. She found drones and hacked them. She gave them names. Some watched the skies. Some patrolled the desert. The machines became her eyes. Her ears. Her family. But she was still alone. At night, she sat on the roof of the bunker and watched the stars. She spoke to the wind. To the memory of her mother. And always, she waited. For someone. For something. For a ship to appear. For proof that she wasn't forgotten. She stopped hoping after year 5. But she kept surviving. The monsters of Xylon 3 grew afraid of her. The stalkers in the dark. The spike serpents. Even the sky screamers. They stayed away. She had learned how to fight. She used old parts to build a weapon. A staff that could shoot bursts of plasma. She learned how to use it fast. Hard. Without mercy. The planet had made her cold. Quiet. Deadly. And then, one day, she saw it. A light in the sky. Not a comet. Not a drone. A ship. Human. Real. Her heart raced. She almost forgot how to breathe. Blue beeped beside her, confused. She didn't wait. She put on her armor, scrap metal, cloth, wires, and plates, and walked into the desert. The ship landed near the old mines. Dust flew everywhere. Men and women in suits came out. They were scanning the ground. Looking for something. They didn't see her until she spoke. Her voice was rough. Deep. She hadn't spoken to anyone in years. But she said 4 words. "You're late. Let's move." The humans froze. Their helmets turned. Their weapons lifted. They had never seen anything like her. Asha stood in the dust, armor built from bones and broken steel, plasma staff glowing in her hand. Her hair, black and wild, blew in the hot wind. Her eyes burned like fire. She looked dangerous. She looked human. Commander Rhodes, the leader of the expedition, stepped forward. His voice came through the helmet, sharp and calm. "Identify yourself." Asha tilted her head. She studied him the way a predator studies prey. "You don't need my name," she said. "You need my map." The humans didn't know what to say. They had come to Xylan 3 for salvage. Old tech, crystals, maybe weapons. They expected traps, maybe raiders. They didn't expect her. "Map?" Rhodes asked. Asha raised her wrist. The cracked bracelet blinked. She pressed a code. A hologram burst out. The desert lit up. It showed the planet. Every mountain, every tunnel, every wreck. But more than that, it showed the danger. Red zones for monsters. Blue zones for machines. Green for food and water. 15 years of survival. All in one file. The humans gasped. How did you survive here?" one whispered. Asha's face was hard. Her voice flat. "Because you didn't." They took her back to the ship. At first, they kept their distance. Some thought she was a spy. Others thought she was a trap, maybe an AI pretending to be human. But when the medics scanned her, the truth came out. Human DNA. Ilari DNA. Mixed. Real. She was alive. The crew whispered among themselves. Stories spread fast. The Phantom of the Wastes. The girl they left. Asha said nothing. She sat in silence, watching everything. She didn't trust them. Not yet. Inside the ship, Rhodes asked her questions. "Who left you here?" "The Ilari Council," she answered. "Why?" "Because I exist." Her words were sharp. Simple. She told them about the ambush. About her mother. About how the council ordered her death by exile. The humans listened. Faces pale. "They watched me," Asha said. "For years. From orbit. They studied me. But they never came down. Not once." Her hands clenched. "They wanted me to die. But I didn't." Rhodes leaned back in his chair. He looked at her like she was something more than human. And maybe she was. "What do you want now?" he asked. Asha didn't answer at once. Her eyes drifted to the stars outside the viewport. Then she whispered. "I want them to see me." When the crew returned to orbit, they sent her data back to Earth. Maps. Logs. Transmissions. Evidence. The files were powerful. They showed how the council had abandoned a child. How they watched, recorded, and ignored her suffering. They showed names. Commands. Orders. It was undeniable. When the files reached Earth, the reaction was instant. Shock. Anger. Fury. Billions of people saw her face. Her story. The girl left to die. The girl who survived. And now, she wasn't just a survivor. She was a symbol. But not everyone wanted her alive. The council sent ships. Fast. Silent. Deadly. They wanted to erase the proof. They wanted to erase her. Asha knew it would happen. She warned Rhodes. They will come, she said. They will burn everything. And she was right. The first attack came in the night. The human ship shook. Alarms screamed. Explosions ripped through the halls. Soldiers rushed to defend the decks. And Asha? She smiled. Finally, she whispered. She grabbed her plasma staff and ran into the fire. The crew had never seen anyone fight like her. She moved fast, sharp, like a shadow. She struck with precision. Every motion was survival. Every strike was years of training alone. She fought like someone who had nothing to lose. And the council soldiers, tall, armored, armed with advanced rifles, fell before her. One by one. She was not just alive. She was unstoppable. When the battle ended, the ship was still standing. The council fleet had fled. But the humans knew the truth, this was only the beginning. Asha stood in the ruins, breathing hard, her armor cracked, her blade glowing. Her words were cold. Certain. They will not stop. Not until I am dead. Rhodes stepped forward. Then we don't let them win. For the first time, Asha looked at him not as an enemy, not as a stranger, but as an ally. She had been alone for 15 years. But now, humanity had come back. And the galaxy would never be the same. The battle had ended, but the danger had only begun. The human crew worked through the night, repairing broken systems, sealing the hull, and counting their dead. The council's first strike had failed, but everyone knew another would come. And in the center of it all stood Asha. Silent. Watching. Waiting. She walked through the ship like a ghost, her armor scorched, her staff dragging against the floor. The crew moved aside when she passed. Some stared at her with awe. Others with fear. But Commander Rhodes saw something else. Not a weapon. Not a threat. But a spark. When the repairs were finished, the ship jumped into hyperspace. The crew thought they were safe. But Asha shook her head. They will follow, she said. How do you know? One asked. Her voice was flat. Certain. Because that's what they did to me. They never stop watching. Never stop hunting. On Earth, the files she had given them spread like wildfire. News channels repeated her story every hour. Abandoned child survives alone on Deathworld. Council conspiracy exposed. Half-human phantom of Xylon. Her face appeared on every screen. Her voice was quoted across the networks. Some called her a hero. Others called her a monster. But no one could ignore her. Asha didn't care about the news. She sat in the war room, staring at the stars on the screen. Rhodes entered quietly. They're listening, he said. They're angry. Some want to fight. Some want peace. But they're all talking about you. She didn't look at him. Talking won't save anyone. Rhodes leaned forward. Then tell me. What do you want us to do? Her eyes turned to him. Cold. Fire burning beneath. Finish what they started. Break the council. The council reacted fast. They called the files lies. They said the girl was an experiment, not a real child. They claimed the humans had created her story to divide the galaxy. But the evidence was too strong. Video logs of council ships circling Xylon 3. Audio recordings of orders to leave the girl behind. Medical scans proving her bloodline. Every denial only made the truth louder. Protests began across the colonies. Ilari civilians demanded answers. Human fleets demanded justice. Old allies turned cold. And through it all, one name rose above the noise. Asha. The girl they had abandoned had become the voice of millions. On the ship, some of the crew didn't trust her. "She's dangerous," one said. "She fights like a weapon." "She isn't normal," another whispered. "No one survives 15 years alone." But others defended her. "She's the reason we're alive. She's proof of what we're fighting for." The arguments grew louder every day. And Asha? She listened. She said nothing. But inside, she knew the truth. She wasn't just fighting for survival anymore. She was fighting for meaning. The next council attack came in deep space. A fleet of warships, larger than anything the humans expected. The crew panicked. Weapons online. Shields up. Engines burning. But Asha walked calmly to the deck. "They are not here for you," she said. "They are here for me." Rhodes turned to her. "Then give me a reason not to hand you over." The silence was heavy. Every soldier on the bridge froze. Asha stepped forward. Her voice was low, but every word struck like iron. "Because if you do, the council will still kill you. They will not allow witnesses. They will not allow truth. But if you stand with me, if you fight beside me, we can win." Rhodes studied her. He saw the steel in her eyes, the fire in her blood. Then he gave the order. "All guns. Fire." The humans fought with everything they had. Lasers tore through space. Missiles screamed. The council fired back, ships burning bright against the stars. And Asha? She didn't stay behind. She led the boarding party. Inside the council ship, she moved like lightning. Her staff cracked open doors, cut through armor, dropped enemies one after another. The crew followed her, inspired by her fury. For the first time, they didn't see her as a stranger. They saw her as their own. The battle was brutal. But when it ended, the council ship burned. And Asha stood at the front, her armor dripping with fire and blood. The humans cheered. For a moment, she felt something she hadn't felt in 15 years. Belonging. But deep inside, she knew the war was only beginning. The council would not stop. The galaxy was already changing. And she was at the center of it. Asha looked at the stars, her voice almost a whisper. "They left me to die. Now they will see what I have become." The galaxy had heard her name. Asha. The girl abandoned on Xylan 3. The child who survived the wastelands. The warrior who fought back against the council. Her story spread faster than any fleet. Faster than any weapon. And once the truth was known, no one could silence it. On colony worlds, people whispered her name in secret. In mining camps, workers carved her symbol on walls. Soldiers painted her face on their armor. To some, she was a warning. To others, she was hope. And to the council, she was danger. The Ilari High Council declared her an outlaw. They said she was a threat to order, a criminal who had stolen forbidden technology. They offered rewards for her capture. They promised death to anyone who followed her. But their words only made her stronger. Because the people remembered the files. The proof. The child they left to die. And they began to ask. If the council could abandon her, who else had they abandoned? On the human ship, Asha trained every day. She fought against soldiers in the simulation rooms. She studied tactics in the war maps. She spoke little, but every word carried weight. Some of the crew avoided her. They were afraid. But others followed her. They saw her not as a ghost, but as a leader. Commander Rhodes watched her carefully. He saw how the crew looked at her. He knew what she was becoming. Not just a survivor. Not just a fighter. But a symbol. Then came the call from Earth. The leaders of humanity demanded her presence. They wanted to see her, speak to her, use her story. Rhodes told her the news. "You've become a voice," he said. "People want to hear you." Asha's face was unreadable. Her voice low. "They don't want me. They want my pain." Rhodes shook his head. "They want your strength. Show them who you are. Show them what survival means." The journey to Earth was long. Too long. Because before they arrived, the Council struck again. This time, not with guns. But with words. A broadcast spread across the galaxy. A council elder appeared on every channel, every screen. His voice was calm, his tone sharp. "The creature you call Asha is a fabrication. A half-blood experiment, a weapon built by humans to divide us. Do not trust her. Do not follow her. She is not one of us." Asha watched the broadcast in silence. Her hands tightened into fists. "They will never see me as real," she said. Rhodes answered quietly. "Then make them." When the ship finally reached Earth, thousands gathered to see her. Crowds filled the landing zone, chanting her name. Cameras flashed. Voices screamed. Asha stepped out of the ship, her armor shining under the lights. She looked at the people, so many faces, so many eyes. For the first time, she felt the weight of it. They weren't here for the crew. They weren't here for Rhodes. They were here for her. Inside the Great Hall, the leaders of humanity stood waiting. Generals, senators, diplomats. They asked her questions. They wanted her story. She told them everything. The cold nights. The hunger. The monsters. The years of silence. The machines she rebuilt. The soldiers she killed. She told them about the council. The orders. The lies. The cruelty. The room was silent when she finished. One senator leaned forward. "What do you want, Asha?" Her voice was steady. "I don't want revenge. I want freedom. For humans. For Ilari. For anyone they tried to control." The hall erupted with voices. Some cheered. Some shouted in fear. Some demanded action. But one thing was clear, the spark had been lit. Soon after, uprisings began. On Ilari colonies, workers refused orders. Soldiers deserted. Whole fleets broke away from the council. And at the center of it all was Asha. Her image spread across banners. Her words became rallying cries. Her survival became proof that no power could crush the human spirit. But rebellion is never clean. The council struck back with fury. They burned villages. They silenced protests. They hunted anyone who carried her name. And the galaxy fell into chaos. Rhodes warned her. "You've started a fire you can't control." But Asha shook her head. "The fire was already there. I just gave it air." One night, as the stars burned outside the window, Asha sat alone. She thought about her mother. She thought about the years of silence. She thought about what she had become. And for the first time, she wondered if she had a choice. Was she leading this rebellion? Or was the rebellion leading her? She whispered into the night. "They left me to die. But now, they cannot stop me." And in the shadows of space, fleets gathered. Armies prepared. The council tightened its grip. The war for the galaxy was about to begin. And Asha was no longer just a survivor. She was the spark. The galaxy was burning. World by world, colony by colony, the spark of rebellion had spread. Some called it freedom. Others called it chaos. And everywhere, they called her name. Asha. The girl they abandoned. The survivor of Xylan 3. The warrior who had become more than a legend. But legends are heavy. Asha felt the weight every day. Every world she visited, crowds reached for her. They touched her armor, whispered her name like a prayer. To them, she was hope. But to herself, she was still the child in the wasteland. The girl no one came back for. The council tightened its grip. Fleets patrolled the skies. Spies hunted rebels. Anyone who spoke Asha's name risked chains, or fire. But the people fought anyway. Miners rose with stolen rifles. Farmers cut down soldiers with tools. Old fleets, forgotten for decades, raised their banners again. The galaxy was alive. And Asha stood in the center of it all. On the human flagship, Rhodes spoke to her in private. "You've become something bigger than yourself," he said. "The people will follow you. They already see you as their leader." Asha turned away. Her voice was sharp. "I am not a leader. I am a weapon." Rhodes shook his head. "No. You are proof. Proof that survival is stronger than power. Proof that they can fight back." She didn't answer. Because deep inside, she was afraid. Afraid that if she became their leader, she would lead them into death. The next battle came in the Zera system. The council sent 3 fleets to crush the rebellion. They expected an easy victory. But they did not expect her. Asha led the charge. Her ship tore through the enemy lines. Fighters swarmed. Lasers lit the void. Explosions painted the black sky red. She boarded their flagship herself. Staff in hand, fire in her eyes, she cut through soldiers like shadows. The crew behind her followed without fear. Her courage was their shield. Her rage was their weapon. And when the battle ended, the council fleet was gone. For the first time in decades, the rebels had won. The victory spread across the galaxy. Songs were written. Banners raised. Children named after her. But with victory came blood. The council retaliated. They burned 3 rebel colonies. They slaughtered innocents. They made examples. Asha watched the reports in silence. Villages on fire. Families running. Cities turned to ash. And she realized something painful. Every victory she won came with a cost. And the cost was always innocent lives. That night, she sat alone on the deck, staring at the stars. Blue, the rebuilt machine from her childhood, sat beside her. It beeped softly, like it had when she was a child. For a moment, she wasn't the phantom. She wasn't the symbol. She wasn't the warrior. She was just Asha. A girl who wanted the pain to stop. Rhodes found her there. "They're ready to follow you," he said. "You need to give them direction. Without you, this rebellion falls apart." Her voice was quiet. "Every victory we win, more people die." Rhodes sat beside her. His voice steady. "That is war. But without you, they die without hope." She closed her eyes. "I don't want to be their hope. I just wanted to live." Rhodes put a hand on her shoulder. "Then live for them. Lead for them. Show them that survival is not enough. Show them what it means to fight." The next day, Asha made her choice. She stood before the rebel leaders, soldiers, and civilians. She looked at their tired faces, their broken armor, their hungry eyes. And she spoke. "I was a child when they left me to die. I had nothing. No food. No weapons. No family. And yet, I lived. Not because I was strong. Not because I was special. But because I refused to give up. The council wants us broken. They want us silent. They want us afraid. But we are still here. We fight. We rise. We survive. And now we will show them that survival is not defeat. Survival is victory. The hall erupted in cheers. The rebellion had found its leader. From that moment, the war changed. No longer scattered uprisings. No longer random raids. Now it was organized. Focused. United. And at the center was Asha. She led fleets into battle. She freed colonies. She spoke to crowds, her voice steady and strong. Everywhere she went, the people followed. Everywhere she went, the council trembled. But the council was not done. In secret, they prepared something darker. Something older. A weapon hidden for centuries. And when it was ready, they would unleash it not just on the rebellion, but on Asha herself. The rebellion was rising. Colony by colony, fleet by fleet, Asha led them to victory. She gave speeches that turned fear into courage. She fought battles that turned despair into fire. Everywhere she went, she lit the spark of freedom. But deep in the halls of the council, shadows moved. They had failed to silence her with armies. They had failed to destroy her with fleets. So now, they turned to their darkest secret. The weapon was hidden far from the stars. On a world sealed away, chained by gravity locks and guarded by silence. It was not a ship. It was not a bomb. It was alive. The council called it Erebos. Long ago, they had built it in fear of humans. A creature grown from flesh and machine, designed to hunt, adapt, and kill. It was patient. It was merciless. And it had been waiting. While Asha spoke to rebels in the free colony of Trivana, the weapon awoke. It rose from the dark chambers where it had slept. Its body was tall and twisted, part metal, part bone. Its eyes glowed like burning stars. And its mind had one command. Find her. End her. Asha felt it before it came. Standing on the balcony of Trivana's great hall, she stared at the stars. A storm of unease burned inside her. Something was coming. Something worse than fleets. Worse than armies. Blue beeped softly beside her. She touched the machine's head, her voice quiet. You feel it too. The first attack came that night. The sky tore open with fire. Not a fleet. Just one ship. Black and silent. It cut through the defenses like paper. Soldiers fired, but their shots did nothing. The ship moved like it was alive. Then, from the shadows, it came. The creature. The weapon. Erebos. The people of Trivana screamed as it walked through their streets. Its body shimmered with shifting armor. Its claws cut through steel. No blade touched it. No bullet stopped it. It was death given form. And it was hunting one target. Asha. She met it in the square. The rebels tried to protect her, but she raised her hand. Stand down. Her plasma staff hummed as she stepped forward. The creature tilted its head. Studying her. Scenting her. You were made for me, she whispered. Then they clashed. The battle shook the city. Her staff cut sparks across its armor. Its claws ripped the air, smashing stone walls, shattering the ground. She moved fast, striking, dodging, rolling. But it was faster. Stronger. Smarter. Every time she struck, it adapted. Every time she dodged, it predicted. It was like fighting death itself. The rebels watched in silence. They saw their symbol Asha, their leader, their hope struggling for the first time. Her strikes slowed. Her breath grew heavy. Blood dripped from her side where its claw had grazed her. For a moment, it seemed she would fall. But then she remembered. The wastelands. The hunger. The silence. The years of being alone. She had faced death before. And she had survived. With a scream, she drove her staff into its chest. Sparks burst. The creature stumbled back. For the first time, it bled. The crowd roared. But the weapon did not fall. It laughed. A sound like metal tearing. Its wound closed before their eyes. It was not finished. The council watched from afar. On their screens, they saw Asha bleed. They saw her struggle. And for the first time in years, they smiled. She cannot win, one whispered. Our creation cannot be stopped. The fight dragged on until dawn. Buildings lay in ruins. Fires burned across the colony. And at last, Rhodes ordered the retreat. Fall back. Get her out of there. Asha wanted to stay. She wanted to fight until the end. But Rhodes pulled her back. This is not your fight alone, he shouted. The ship lifted, carrying her away as Erebos roared below. Its eyes glowed red, its claws tearing at the sky. The people of Trivana wept as the ship disappeared into the stars. Asha lay in the med bay, her armor shattered, her body broken. She stared at the ceiling in silence. For the first time in years, she felt powerless. Rhodes stood at her side. His voice was steady, but heavy with worry. That thing was built for you. If it lives, none of us are safe. Asha closed her eyes. Then I will kill it. Her voice was quiet. But inside, she felt the fire return. They had made a weapon to destroy her. But they had forgotten one thing. She was human. And humanity never stops fighting. The med bay was quiet. Machines hummed. Lights glowed softly. Asha lay on the bed, her body covered in scars and fresh bandages. The fight with Erebos had left her broken, but not defeated. Her eyes were open. They stared at the ceiling, but her mind was far away. For years she had survived alone. For years she had fought only for herself. But now, the galaxy expected her to be more. A symbol. A leader. Hope itself. And she wasn't sure if she could carry that weight. Rhodes entered, his steps heavy. He looked at her, then at the floor. You almost died out there, he said. I didn't, Asha answered. Her voice was sharp, but tired. You can't fight this war alone. I've always fought alone. Rhodes shook his head. Not anymore. People believe in you. They're ready to die for you. Her jaw tightened. She hated those words. I don't want them to die for me. The door opened again. This time, it was Kale, a young rebel soldier. Barely more than 20. His hands shook as he saluted. Asha, he whispered, his voice breaking. When you fought that monster, you gave us strength. I saw men who were ready to run stand their ground because of you. If you hadn't been there, we would have lost everything. Asha's eyes met his. She saw the hope shining in them. The blind, burning faith. And for the first time, she was afraid. Not of death. Not of Erebos. But of what she was becoming to them. Later, when the ship drifted through the black, Asha stood in the observation deck. Blue, her old machine, whirred quietly beside her. She touched its metal head. Do they see me, Blue? Or do they only see what they need? The machine beeped softly, like an answer she didn't want to hear. She whispered into the glass. I am not hope. I am just, surviving. But the galaxy didn't care what she believed. The rebellion had grown. Fleets united. Colonies declared freedom. Leaders who once stayed silent now stood beside her. Her speeches were carried across the stars. Her battles were replayed in secret channels. Children painted her face on walls, chanting her name. Asha. 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 She was no longer a person. She was a story. And stories are heavier than chains. One night, the council of rebels gathered. Generals, captains, voices from dozens of worlds. They argued over strategy, where to strike, how to fight, who to trust. The room was loud with anger. Until Asha entered. Silence fell. Every eye turned to her. She felt their gaze like fire on her skin. She stood tall, her staff in her hand, her scars shining under the lights. "You want orders," she said. "You want me to tell you how to win. But I am not a general. I am not a queen. I am a survivor. That is all." The room stayed silent. Then she added, her voice like steel. "And survival means fighting back." The room erupted, not in argument, but in cheers. They would follow her anywhere. That night, Rhodes found her again. "You can't deny it anymore," he said. "They see you as their leader." Asha shook her head. "I don't want to lead." "You already do." She turned to him, her eyes sharp. "Do you know what happens when leaders fail? People die. Not them. Not the council. The people. The innocent. If I lead them into fire, I will burn them alive." Rhodes held her gaze. His voice was steady, calm. "And if you don't lead them, they will still burn. Without direction. Without hope. At least with you, they have a chance." Her hands trembled. For the first time in years, she felt the weight of doubt pressing harder than any wound. Was she saving them? Or was she just dragging them into the same silence she had once endured? Then came the message. The council broadcast again. But this time, it wasn't lies or denials. It was Erebos. The weapon stood before their cameras, its glowing eyes piercing the galaxy. Its voice was low, broken, like a chorus of machines and screams. "I was made to end the girl you worship. She cannot hide. She cannot win. She will fall. And when she does, you will fall with her." The message played across every world. Asha's name turned from hope into a target. In the rebel halls, soldiers muttered in fear. Civilians asked if she could truly survive this monster. Some even wondered if following her would bring only death. For the first time, doubt spread. And Asha felt it cut through her like a blade. That night, alone with Blue, she spoke to the machine in a whisper. "Maybe they're right. Maybe I was never meant to lead. Maybe I am just a mistake the council forgot to bury." Blue beeped once, a low, sad sound. She touched its metal hand. "But I can't stop now. If I fall, everything falls." Her eyes turned to the stars. Hard. Cold. "They wanted a weapon to kill me. But they made a mistake. Because I am not just a survivor. I am human. And humans fight until the end." The war had changed. It was no longer rebellion against the council. It was Asha against Erebos. Two weapons. Two stories. One destined to break the other. And the galaxy held its breath. The galaxy was waiting. Every colony, every fleet, every rebel and soldier knew the truth. The rebellion was no longer only about freedom. It was about two names. Asha. The survivor. The symbol of hope. Erebos. The weapon of the council. The shadow of death. And only one of them would remain. Asha knew the fight was coming. She could feel it in her bones. Every scar on her body whispered the same warning: the council would not stop until Erebos stood over her body. She trained harder than ever. Long hours in the simulation halls. Endless drills with her staff. Fighting holograms, fighting machines, fighting her own fear. But she also knew the truth. Erebos was not like any enemy before. It was built for her. It learned her every move. It adapted to her every strike. If she fought it the same way as before, she would die. One night, Rhodes found her in the training chamber. You can't fight this thing alone, he said. I will have to. No. That's exactly what it wants. You're not a lone survivor anymore. You have us. Use us. Ash's jaw tightened. Her voice was sharp. When I fought alone, I survived. When others fought beside me, they died. Rhodes shook his head. No, Asha. When others fight beside you, they live. She turned away, but his words cut deep. The council made their move. Erebos was unleashed on the colony of Draven Prime. A thriving rebel hub. A city of millions. The attack was brutal. Streets burned. Towers fell. Civilians screamed as the monster tore through the defenses. And above it all, the council broadcasted the battle live. Every world saw Erebos destroying Draven Prime. Every world saw the hopeless fight. And every world waited for Asha. She came. Her ship broke through the skies of fire. The rebels cheered. The civilians cried out. And Erebos looked up, its glowing eyes burning with hunger. The duel was inevitable. They met in the ruins of the central plaza. Ash fell like snow. Flames burned in every corner. The city was silent, as if the galaxy itself held its breath. Asha stepped forward, her staff in her hands. Her armor scarred but steady. Erebos stood tall, its body shifting, claws gleaming with living metal. Its voice was a broken roar. You are nothing. Asha's eyes narrowed. I am human. That is enough. Then the ground shook as they charged. The clash was fury and fire. Her staff struck fast, cutting arcs of plasma through the air. Erebos blocked with claws of steel, sparks flying. Every hit she landed, it healed. Every strike it missed, it learned. It was relentless. She rolled, leaped, fought with every breath, every scar, every memory of survival. But Erebos was faster. Stronger. And soon, it had her cornered. The rebels watched from the streets, fear burning in their eyes. Their leader, their symbol, was losing. And Asha felt it. The weight of their faith pressing on her shoulders. She whispered under her breath. I can't fall. Not here. Not now. Then she remembered Rhodes' words. You're not a lone survivor anymore. You have us. Use us. Her eyes widened. She wasn't alone. She shouted across the comms. All units now. From the rooftops, hidden rebels opened fire. Missiles rained down. Drones swarmed the monster. Soldiers charged with plasma rifles blazing. Erebos roared, tearing through them, but the attack slowed it down. For the first time, it was distracted. And Asha struck. She drove her staff into its side, deep into the cracks of its armor. Sparks burst. Black fluid spilled. The monster screamed, its voice shaking the city. The rebels cheered. But Asha didn't smile. She knew it wasn't over. Erebos staggered, then laughed. Its wound closed. Its claws sharpened. You cannot kill me, it said. I am the end. Asha's voice was steady, cold. No. You are only the beginning. The battle raged for hours. Buildings collapsed around them. Fire consumed the city. Asha fought with the strength of an army. The rebels fought with the strength of belief. And still, Erebos stood. Unbroken. Unstoppable. By dawn, the city was in ruins. Asha fell to one knee, her body bleeding, her staff cracked. Erebos loomed above her, claws raised. The council, watching from their hidden chambers, smiled. Victory was near. But then Asha lifted her head. Her eyes burned like the wastelands of Xylon 3. Her voice was a whisper, but it carried across the field. I am not fighting for myself. I am fighting for all of them. And with one last cry, She rose again. The rebels surged behind her, their voices shaking the ruins. Together, they struck. Together, they forced Erebos back. The monster roared, the ground shook, but for the first time it stumbled. The galaxy watched in awe. The girl they abandoned was not alone anymore. She was not just a survivor. She was a leader. And Erebos would have to face more than her. It would have to face humanity itself. Draven Prime was dust. The battle against Erebos had left the city in ruins. Towers lay broken. The streets were rivers of ash. The air burned with smoke and silence. But the people were alive. They had seen Asha stand. They had seen her rise again when death was certain. And in that moment, they believed more than ever. To them, she was not only human. She was unstoppable. She was the future. But Asha felt only exhaustion. Her body ached. Her armor was cracked. Her staff was nearly destroyed. And deep inside, she knew the truth. Erebos had not been defeated. Only pushed back. It would return. Stronger. Smarter. Deadlier. And the council would never stop sending it. In the war council that followed, rebel leaders argued over the next move. Strike the council directly, one shouted. No, another said, we must rebuild first. We cannot risk losing everything. The room shook with voices, until silence fell when Asha entered. She looked at them all, her face unreadable. Her voice was calm, but carried like fire. If we keep running, they will destroy us piece by piece. If we wait, Erebos will finish what it started. We don't have time. We strike now. Rhodes frowned. You're talking about war on their home ground. Their fleets. Their armies. Their world. Asha met his eyes. Yes. War. Not because we want it. But because they have left us no choice. Her words cut through the silence. The leaders looked at one another. Fear. Anger. Hope. And then, slowly, one by one, they nodded. The rebellion would move. As fleets prepared, Asha walked alone in the hangar. Soldiers cheered when they saw her, but she gave them only a small nod. When she reached her ship, she paused. Blue, her old machine, beeped quietly. Its light blinked like it always had, since the wasteland days. She touched it gently. Am I still that girl, Blue? The one who just wanted to live? The machine whirred softly. She closed her eyes. Now she wasn't fighting to live. She was fighting to change the galaxy. And she wasn't sure which one was harder. The council saw the rebellion gathering. And for the first time, they felt fear. They had ruled for centuries with silence and control. But now, the silence was broken. The people had found their voice. And that voice had a name. Asha. They sent Erebos again. But this time, not just to kill her. To break her. On the edge of the galaxy, the final trap was set. The council leaked coordinates of a secret base. Supplies. Weapons. Technology. Too tempting to ignore. The rebels sent fleets. Asha led them. But when they arrived, the truth struck. It was no base. No supplies. It was a cage. And Erebos was waiting. The monster dropped from the sky like a shadow of death. Larger than before. Its body had changed. Stronger. Faster. Its wounds from Draven Prime were gone. It had learned. It had evolved. And it wanted her. The fleets clashed in chaos. The council's ships cut through the rebels with fire. Explosions lit the void. The sky became a storm of war. In the center, Asha and Erebos faced each other once more. Her staff glowed weakly. His claws burned like suns. This was not just a battle. It was judgment. They fought across the wrecks of ships. Plasma against steel. Sparks against fire. Every strike shook the battlefield. Asha's breath came heavy. Her muscles screamed. She felt the end closing in. But then she looked around. Rebels fighting. Soldiers shouting her name. Civilians watching across the galaxy. They believed in her. And she realized something powerful. This fight was no longer about survival. It was about choice. Her choice. She could kill Erebos. She could kill the Council. She could lead the galaxy into endless fire, until no one was left standing. Or she could end it another way. A harder way. She could choose peace. In the middle of the battle, she lowered her staff. The rebels gasped. Erebos tilted its head, confused. "I will not be your mirror," Asha said. Her voice was steady, clear. "I will not become the weapon you want me to be." Erebos roared and lunged. But Asha moved, faster than before. Not with rage. Not with hate. With purpose. She struck not to kill, but to disable. To break the chains that bound it to the Council. Her staff drove into its chest. Sparks erupted. Wires snapped. The monster screamed. And for the first time, Erebos fell silent. The battle around them stopped. Both fleets froze, watching. Asha stood over the weapon. Her voice carried across the comms. "This war ends today. Not with fire. Not with death. But with truth. They left me to die. But I survived. And now I choose something greater than survival. I choose freedom." Her words spread across every channel. Across every world. Across every heart. The Council's power broke that day not by fear, but by choice. And for the first time in centuries, the galaxy saw hope. But Asha knew the hardest choice was still ahead. Because once the fires died, once the war ended, she would no longer be just a symbol. She would have to be something else. Something new. The war was over. The Council had fallen. Their fleets were scattered. Their leaders had vanished into silence. Across the galaxy, people cheered. Cities lit fires of celebration. Children shouted her name in the streets. Asha. The girl who survived. The warrior who rose. The symbol who brought freedom. But in her heart, Asha felt no triumph. Only a quiet weight. Erebos lay broken in the ruins of the battlefield. Its body was still, its glowing eyes dimmed. The Council had built it to kill her. To end her story. But she had chosen a different path. Not to destroy it. But to free it. In its final moments, she had seen something in its eyes. Not just a weapon. Not just death. A prisoner. Like her. Now the galaxy looked to her. Every rebel leader. Every soldier. Every civilian. They wanted her to rule. To take the throne left empty by the Council. To become the queen of a new order. But she shook her head. "I was not left behind to wear a crown," she said. "I was left to prove that no one should ever be left behind again." Instead of a throne, she built a council. Not of rulers, but of voices, human, Ilari, and every world in between. A council of equals. A place where no child would be abandoned, no voice silenced, no people forgotten. It was not perfect. It was not easy. But it was real. And it was hers. Years passed. The wastelands of Xylon 3 became a colony again. Scientists came to study its secrets. Families came to build homes. Life returned to the planet that once tried to kill her. At the heart of it all, Asha built a monument. Not to herself. But to survival. A tower of steel and stone, marked with the words, "No one is forgotten." Every year, On the day they left her behind, Asha returned to Xylan 3. She walked the deserts where she once starved. She touched the walls of the bunker where she once slept. She stood beneath the stars she once feared. And she remembered. Not to keep the pain alive, but to honor the child she once was. The child who refused to die. Blue was always at her side. The machine she had rebuilt in the wastelands. The first piece of family she ever knew. Its light blinked softly as she stood in silence. "You kept me alive," she whispered. "When no one else would." The machine beeped once, as if it understood. The galaxy moved forward. Children grew up free, learning her story in schools. Soldiers who once feared her now wore her symbol with pride. Colonies once silent now spoke with strength. And still, they called her name. Asha. Not as a weapon. Not as a queen. But as a reminder. That humanity was more than survival. It was choice. One night, standing before the monument on Xylan 3, Rhodes came to her side. His hair was gray now, his steps slower. But his eyes still burned with the same fire. "You did it," he said. "You changed everything." Asha looked at the stars. Her voice was calm. "No. We did it. Humanity did it. The Alari did it. Everyone who chose freedom did it." She turned to him, her eyes steady. "I just refused to give up." Rhodes smiled. That was enough. As the night sky stretched above them, Asha closed her eyes. She remembered the cold air. The hunger. The silence. The years of waiting. She remembered the moment she thought no one would ever come back. And then she remembered the ship that did. The human voices. The hands that reached out. The belief that grew. And the choice she had made. To turn survival into something greater. She opened her eyes and whispered to the stars. "They left me to die. But I lived. And because I lived, everything changed." The galaxy was free. And the girl they abandoned was no longer just a survivor. She was the beginning of a new dawn.